Oh yeah, you know what time it is. You know what's going on. I'm your host, Cam Silver.
I am your co-host Kyle Silver.
Welcome back to another episode of the Silver Boys Podcast. Now, Kyle, obviously, this past weekend was championship weekend.
hmm
We got ourselves a little bye. It's Pro Bowl or whatever. No one really watches that stuff anymore.
Nobody watching Pro
They
Bowl, guys.
didn't kill that off and whatnot. So that's whatever. But a lot of things are still happening, because a lot of teams are obviously in the off season. So let's get down to it. Jacksonville's next head coach will be Liam Cohen, who comes from Tampa Bay, if I'm not mistaken. The Las Vegas is now going to be coached by Pete Carroll,
hmm
which is
hmm
which is going to be big. They reached a 3-year agreement with a fourth-year team option. San Francisco is back to hiring Robert Saleh as their defensive coordinator. So I anticipate that defense to be
Back
right
where it
back
was,
where they,
where
yep,
right
yep.
back where it was years ago. Yes, yes.
When they first met Kansas City the first
hmm
time in the
hmm
big game. Um, Dallas, this is where stuff gets real funny, Kyle. Kyle, this is where stuff gets real funny. They have moved their offensive coordinator, Brian Schottenheimer, to the head coach position.
Yes, they have. Yes, they have. And that's all I'm
Now,
going to say about it.
now, I obviously we don't really know Coach Schottenheimer like that, but from the resume that I've seen, he's been an assistant basically all his life. His dad
27
was a
years,
coach.
yeah.
His dad was a coach and everything, so obviously this is in his blood. But yeah, Dallas, out of all the places to start as a head coach.
You know, man, this just it was surprising, but also not surprising at the same time
Mhm.
because you know, in just from what I've read, over these last coming days, like of how Jerry was thinking about it, how Stephen Jones, Jones Jr. was thinking about it. It seemed like they're under this impression that like, okay, if we just promote from inside, we'll get to where we were before all them years ago with Jimmy Johnson and so forth and so on. And I just feel like that's like not being adaptable to change. That's not being like, you're not you're so stuck in your ways of what like you want inside those four walls of the Star and AT&T Stadium and whatnot that you're not it just feels like you're not willing to hire outside. And then having Mike McCarthy over these last 4 years, 5 years, whatever it was, having him over these last couple years, like kind of I feel like that made them do this more, you know.
hmm
Because they looked outside, and then he was 12 and 5, 12 and 5, 12 and 5, and then 7 and 10 in his last year. I feel like they just think that, okay, we just need to hire somebody from the inside, give them a promotion. And, because they know our ways, because they know, the true cowboy way, whatever that might be, which is losing. Um, but but I mean, like, I'm gonna give him the chance, like, because like he has coaching in his blood. His father was a coach for 21 years, and like, a head coach for 21 years. He's been an assistant for 27 years, so it's not like he doesn't know, the ins and outs of everything. Like I would assume that he does. I have hope that he
hmm
does. Actually, I have hope that he doesn't. So just because I like to see the Cowboys lose, but in terms of bigging other people up and whatnot, I hope he knows what he's doing. Um, but that's really all I have to say about it. Obviously there were discussions around Deion Sanders, but I don't think Deion's gonna leave the kids. Like he ain't gonna leave Colorado. I think he really does love it. Like like a lot up there. And then, it's not like he's going to follow his sons to the NFL. Like he's going to create his own path. He's going to create like, what he wants to do essentially. Um, and then, I seen talks that they might be having, like, they were thinking about bringing Kellen Moore back. They only gave him a 90-minute interview. They interviewed Leslie Frazier for 6 hours. They interviewed Robert Saleh for 4 hours. Like, so I don't know. I don't know why they chose this man. I really don't. It's kind of perplexing to me, but that's all I have to say. It's just perplexing. That's it.
They like you just mentioned, they interviewed all these guys for all so many hours. They so they obviously were looking,
They were
but
looking, yes, yes.
but it was like I don't know. It's like they just settle. You know,
Hmm.
they just settle for mediocrity. They just
Hmm.
they just want their name to ring out, which it does. It's always going to because they're one of the richest franchises in American sports. But
Hmm.
at the same time, it's like your your name rings out a little more when you win. So I don't
I
I
just
don't
want to know,
understand
like,
it.
I want to know what the criteria was for, like, what was the list that, like, you guys thought you needed, offense, defense, special teams, coaching staff and whatnot. Like, what was the guidelines that allowed you to check these boxes and be like, okay, Schootenheimer's the guy,
I guess it's somebody that knows that they're gonna kiss the ring of Jerry Jones. That's what I think
Oh
it is, if
man.
I'm being honest with you, because
Mm-hmm.
someone like Aaron Glenn isn't gonna do it, and
Mm-hmm.
Johnson clearly I don't believe will do it either. That's why they are where they are, and they're gonna be. I believe that they're gonna do stellar things in where they are, both in their respective franchises. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's just one of those things where it's like, okay, I understand, that he's been around the game, for his whole life and everything, but wouldn't you rather get somebody that, is ascending to, that stature? Wouldn't you rather get somebody who, as soon as you hire them, you already know what the plan, what the philosophy is going to be, what the schemes are going to be, something like that.
I really wouldn't have been mad if they brought Kellen Moore back either. I really
No,
wouldn't have.
no, I would
I
have
wouldn't
been
have
that,
this reaction because
that would
of
have
what
been
Kellen Moore is doing right now over
uh,
in Philly.
but he was doing work when he was in
He
Dallas
was,
too.
just as the OC he was.
They were scoring a lot when he was still in Dallas too.
Yes.
So that's my thing. Like, why wouldn't you just bring you already? He already knows the franchise. He's familiar with the franchise. Just bring him back. Let him, run the team and let him do what he did beforehand.
Hmm.
But I don't know. Schootenheimer, from what I heard, he likes to run the ball a lot. They're gonna have to beef up that offensive line. That's one.
Need
Two,
another running back. Just
two. I mean, they have a pretty good where they're positioned at right now. They're in prime position to get Genty, so that
hmm.
should be a no brainer. We'd hope. Um, and then obviously another big thing is that they have to beef up their defensive line as well. You want to run the ball, that's cool, but you also need to stop it too, which
Hmm.
you haven't been able to do for these past few years. So that's going to be something. Also, Dallas is also hiring Matt Eberflus as their defensive coordinator. By the way, yeah,
Ooh.
yeah, a first time head coach and a defensive coordinator that doesn't know how to use a timeout. So there you go, Dallas. There you go. There
Doing exactly what
you
y'all
go.
been doing for as long as I've been alive. The same
Shake,
thing. Just that's
shaking, shaking my head. But
it.
but let's get to what happened on the field this past weekend. So
Mhm.
Washington. Oh boy.
Oh boy, he's right.
Oh boy. Washington. My goodness. So Philly destroyed Washington 55-23. Jalen Hurts goes 20 for 28, 246 yards, throwing touchdown. He has three rushing touchdowns. Barkley, 15 carries, 118 yards for three touchdowns. That first run, man, that first
That
run made
first
my jaw
run,
drop.
that first
That-
run,
My jaw drop, bro.
that first run,
Dude,
Washington did nothing we talked about. They
no,
did they did nothing we talked about, Cam.
no, 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 no. If you like, all right, after the run, they come back. What are we talking about, guys?
Like,
What do we what do we practice for? What do we go through all that film for? And then you
yeah,
guys
two
can't
touches for
tackle.
two touchdowns already. Then the next drive, he touched the ball again and he scored. What?
man.
Stacking the box, my. Oh goodness, I can't
Yo,
curse on this, but
Hurts and you know what's funny? You know what's funny to me? Hurts and Barkley looked exactly what I think we all projected Jackson and Henry to look like.
exactly,
Three rushing touchdowns by both.
exactly.
That's what we all thought Baltimore was gonna do.
And one thing about Philly, they gonna run that ball, and they ain't gonna let nobody stop them from running that ball.
Mm-mm, mm-mm. And I don't blame him. I don't
You
blame him.
can't. Now, especially when you have an offensive line like that. But to put up a 55 wing piece dinner, 50
In the conference
in the
championship
conference
game,
championship game, 50,
come on, man. Come on, man.
that's nasty.
Come on, man. And I
That's
and I and I and
nasty.
I've and it's crazy because I feel for Jaden Daniels and for Washington because all in all, they didn't play that bad of a game. It was the
Mhm.
fumbles.
Yes.
They kept fumbling the ball. If they don't fumble the ball, the game is tighter because Philly did their job. They got the ball
hmm
back and they scored
hmm
on the turnovers.
hmm
You take away those turnovers, this is a one possession game.
A very high scoring game, still probably too.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
I
but
believe so. Yeah.
it just felt like Washington still just couldn't stop Philly's offense. That was the thing too. They couldn't. So would it have been a one possession game even if they didn't have those turnovers?
I think at the end, Philly probably does run away with it,
hmm
but I think the game is a lot more competitive than it
hmm
showed to be.
hmm
You know, dudes are so good. Even the backup running back and Will Shipley came in on 4 carries, 77 yards and a touchdown. Like really, like
You
they were
said
just
like really
like, come on, man. Like they just gave up. At that point, you're done. You gave up. Because
gone, dude.
4 carries for 77 yards and a touchdown. That's light work. That's light work.
They were just jogging out there. They wasn't even running, my boy. They were just jogging, and Washington still couldn't catch them. But
Mm-mm.
I think Washington just, like had a great season. For a first year quarterback. You know, to get
It's
to
real.
conference championship game.
Mm-hmm.
Went up against a juggernaut. It's hard. We always say it's hard to beat the same team twice. And just
Like,
because
yeah.
it's hard 3 times.
Like
Exactly.
that's just playing them 3 times is hard
Three
enough.
times,
So
yes, yes, yes. But just it's hard to beat the same team 2 times, is what I'm
yeah,
saying.
yeah, yeah,
Um, but I mean, they just went up against a juggernaut, and there's nothing wrong with that. We all knew like Philly was just that team, and Saquon Barkley is easily the catalyst for them and that defense. Because
yeah.
with DeJean, Quinyon Mitchell, Zach Bond, what they're doing, dude, is disgusting.
Jalen
Like
Carter in the middle,
Jalen
man. It's
Carter, like that
yeah,
entire with no N'Kobe Dean,
yeah. That's the big thing.
and they're doing this. That tells me a lot. That shows me a
Yeah,
lot, man. And if Saquon keeps running the ball like this and they keep that offensive line right where they want to be, like Philly can do this for years to come if they really want to.
yeah, yeah. But it's hard though, because one thing that we do notice about running backs after they have stellar years like this,
That
the
next
next year they
year,
usually fall off because their
yeah,
body took on so much wear and tear.
yeah.
Look at Christian McCaffrey. I had Christian McCaffrey on my fantasy team
hmm
that what's it called last season when he was
hmm
going crazy. Then after that coming up this year, you know, he's nowhere to be found.
Exactly.
So that's the only scary part. I don't wish that obviously on Saquon. I do hope that Saquon does continue this dominance because I think we all knew him coming out of Penn State that he was going to be stellar. It was just a
Yeah.
matter of him getting an old line that could protect him and him allowing himself to do what he can do. So,
hmm
but yeah, no,
And especially if they lose Kellen Moore too. If they lose Kellen Moore because like he is like he's being interviewed and he's
yeah,
being recommended and whatnot.
yeah.
So
New Orleans is the next team because
hmm
they're the last team, last franchise without a coach. So
hmm
yeah, I expect that pursuit to be hot right now. So
yeah,
and then obviously I don't think that they'll do or say anything until after the big game.
obviously, yeah.
But yeah, that's one thing that's a little nugget for everybody to keep an eye on. But yeah, man, Philly, they just did their thing. They knew exactly who they were coming in, and they established their dominance. Like you said, Washington had nothing to hang their head over. First year head coach, first year in the new ownership, new GM, new quarterback, offensive coordinator, new everything. Your first year as new everything, and you get up here, hey, the like
Somebody tell Jerry Jones adaptability and change is good.
he should have known that when Detroit came through to his crib. What? He should have known that when Detroit came through to his crib, man. Detroit came through and they gave him work, man. They didn't. They obviously Dallas won that game, but it showed that Detroit was coming for them. This was last year and later in the season, but obviously we all know what happened this past season because
Mm-hmm.
they had gave them that real work that they were planning to give them beforehand. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, no, they uh, it's just very cool to see what Washington did this season. All in all,
Very, very.
it's just very cool to see. Daniels, man, if you watched them in college, then you know some of the things that he was doing was not a surprise.
Exactly.
You know, it was just a matter of obviously it's a matter of circumstances, getting on the right team with the right head coach, the right coordinator, the right quarterback coach, the right people around you, and guess what? You can go pretty far.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
I think not just Dallas, I think
Everybody, yes.
everybody needs to take a page out of this and then understand and study and understand what's really going on and how to
Mm-hmm.
really build a franchise, especially if you're starting from ground zero. This is
Yeah.
how you do it. This is how you do it. Moving on to the other side. Kansas City beats Buffalo 32-29. I was watching the game with my pops. I turned to my pops right after the game was over. I said, "This is the game we all expected it to be."
It, like quite literally. Quite
Back and
literally.
forth, back and forth. Whoever got the ball last,
Whoever
that's the
gets the
one that's
ball
going.
last,
That's
and
the one that's
Patrick
going to
got the
do it.
ball last. And we all knew the game was over once he had that. He had too much time. Too much time. Too much time.
Shoot, Josh Allen had time too. Josh
Josh
Allen,
Allen had a lot.
but
Josh Allen
one
had
thing,
time, man.
one thing that pisses me off is everyone was talking about obviously the fourth down. The fourth down call was very controversial.
Mm-hmm.
You could make the argument that he did or didn't make it. You know, in my opinion, I got to a point where I didn't even know.
I still don't know because
I got to a point where I didn't even know
every
the line judge on the opposite side is coming in and giving him the first down, but the line judge on the close side is coming in and saying that he's short. The
yeah.
reason why they gave it to the line judge on the close side, and I don't think no one understands this, the reason why they gave it to him is because he obviously had the vision of the ball.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The other line judge didn't
Out of Josh Allen's body.
exactly. The other line judge couldn't see the ball,
Mm-hmm. I
and like he's and the ball is being cradled against his body.
I blame I like I'm not blame isn't the right word, but I can't find another word. I blame Josh Allen for not making it definitive enough to go get that first down. You know, don't
I
leave it in
can't
the ref's hands.
I can't blame him
Blame is
because
the wrong word, but
I can't blame him. I can't hold him accountable to an extent because look at where you are. You're
yeah.
running another tush push or a quarterback sneak. There's no way in the world that I can even let go of this ball and try to reach it over because guess what?
Oh, yeah.
As soon as you do, you plot, you know.
You're
So I
yeah.
don't blame Josh Allen. I blame the coaches. Why do you keep running that play?
Mm-hmm.
And you keep going to the same side, to the left side.
The same
Okay.
side every time. Yeah.
What do you think? What do you think Spags is gonna do? Chris Jones, George Kalafskis, all y'all, come. Everybody shift to the left side and just
Mm-hmm.
bum rush that side. You know, so that's why I can't really blame Allen because Allen did what he had to do. You know,
He
but
protected the ball.
he
I'm just
protected the
saying
ball.
in terms of like knowing you need to go get that first down and like I don't, it's just like this like innate thing in me that's just like brother, you got to go make it definitive against Kansas City,
But
man.
my question is, how would you make that definitive? Because
The
they put
coach,
you in
the
that
coach,
spot.
the coach, the coach,
There you go.
the coach,
There you go.
the coach. I get it. I get it. I do.
You feel me?
I do.
That's what I think. And then like, you know, and people saying, "Oh, poor Josh Allen." I'm not saying poor Josh
Nah, I
Allen
can't say that. I
because
can't say that.
what happened last week with Lamar? Lamar marched down the field with less than 2 minutes and got a touchdown. Josh Allen just beat him, so he could do the same thing.
Exactly.
You telling me
Exactly.
you telling me with 3:33 left on the clock he can't go do the same thing? And
And
then
with
after that,
3:33 left on the clock, you just wasted. The thing was they wasted 6 minutes of that clock, and like they waste. Kansas City got the ball 6 minutes. They had the ball at the 10-minute mark, and
mhm,
then they gave up the ball at 3 minutes, whatever. 6 to 7 minutes they had that ball. You need to go get that. You have to. You just
yeah,
have to.
you got one of your playmakers, Matt Milano, somebody over on that side, Ed Oliver, Von Miller,
Mm,
somebody on that side has to go get that ball.
I'm saying.
And then what's it called? Coming out of the 2 minute warning, the 2 minute timeout.
Mhm.
What happens? Kansas City, boom, comes right through and crashes the whole party with a blitz. Everybody knows that the blitz is coming.
And they knew that blitz. The commentators were saying that the blitz is coming. It's gonna come. And
Everybody
Steve,
knows
Steve Spagnuolo
every
showed why he's the greatest defensive coordinator of all time right now.
bro, everybody knows the blitz is coming. Every former football player that's coming up, everybody knows out of the 2 minute warning, there's a blitz coming. Because whatever little play you think you got, oh yeah, we're gonna speed this thing up.
We gonna blow that thing up.
That's exactly what they did. That's exactly what they did. But I give Josh Allen credit because he got it down. He got it down there. Kincaid's got to make that catch. Plain
It's
and simple.
karma. It's karma. It's all it is. It's karma from the
Oh,
preview.
for
That's
last
all
week.
I want. That's all it is, brother. That's all it is.
From last week.
That's all it is.
But shout outs to Mahomes, man. This was arguably his best game of the season. 18 for 26, 245 yards, a touchdown, 11 carries, 43 yards, and two touchdowns on the ground.
Hmm.
So very, very good from him. Xavier Worthy, he magically has just become their go-to guy. 6 receptions, 85 yards, and a touchdown. He was supposed to be that guy that was going to lift the top off the defense. And then once they figure out that they can't figure out that chemistry between him and Mahomes, they're like, all right, well, we'll just give it to him in a flat and then create space and let him go, which
Hmm.
is which is awesome to me because as fast as he is, as soon as that first step comes down, he's gone.
Hmm.
He is gone. And Juju Smith-Schuster, 2 receptions, but 60 yards. That's
Hmm.
huge. 30
Very.
30 yards for two catches. That's big right there. And they did all this without D Hop being a factor. He only had one catch for 11 yards, and without Travis Kelce, I think he only had like two
Yeah.
or three catches. Nothing
Travis
crazy.
Kelce was essentially a non-factor in this game.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So that's huge. That's huge,
Very. Very.
and it
You see,
shows
Kansas
how
City did what they needed to do.
it shows how versatile Kansas City is.
Exactly.
It shows you just how versatile that this team is, and shows how scary that they are, and too. And then
And shout out Kareem Hunt too, though.
yeah,
17
yeah,
four
17.
yards, running hard every time. Like, Kareem Hunt was down and out. Like, you know what I mean? And then he came back and when Isaiah Pacheco wasn't in. And he took this. I believe that he also very, very, very well helped out this Chiefs team. And then with Kansas City team. And then even Xavier Worthy too. 6 receptions, 85 yards, conference championship game as a rookie. As a rookie.
Yeah, like I said, like the fact that they couldn't get they couldn't lift the top off the defense. Okay, that's fine. We'll just throw it to him in the flat, and we'll run
Hmm.
wide receiver screens for him.
Exactly.
We'll run him across the middle on mesh concepts and stuff like that. We'll run him on slants.
Uh-huh.
Easy,
Uh-huh.
easy. He's too fast for anybody anyway.
Hmm.
He set a combine record for a reason. He's too fast for y'all.
Exactly. Exactly. Ain't nobody gonna catch him.
So yeah, man. Everybody. The one thing that and the reason why this showed the reason why it's hard to pick against Kansas City because everybody steps up and shows up when you need them to. So shout outs
Hmm.
to them. So next week we'll preview the big game down in the Big Easy. We'll preview
Yeah,
Philly
yeah, yeah.
versus
We'll
Kansas
really
City
get into it. Yeah.
part two. Part two. So that one will be fun. But moving on, there's some things that have been going on in the NBA, also in the WNBA too. So we
Hmm.
might have some time for the WNBA. But for right now, what I'll tell you guys is the Miami Heat have once again suspended Jimmy Butler. And this
Again.
time, indefinitely. This time, this is permanent, y'all, for at least the time being. Why is he suspended once again, you may ask? Well, he walked out of practice after they told him that he was going to have to come off the bench. And I ain't gonna lie to you. I ain't gonna lie to you. I probably would have done the same thing. You're paying
Make it three.
you,
Make it
you
three. Make it three.
you're
I
paying me too
would
much money for me to come off the bench, brother.
bench. I'm Jimmy Butler.
Getting paid
Bench.
like I'm getting paid over 40 mil and I'm coming off the bench. Yeah, okay. Okay.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
But yeah, they in my opinion, Pat Riley should not have the first time when Jimmy basically said he wanted to be traded. Pat Riley should not have said, yeah, we're not gonna trade him. No, that's not how this works.
It's not how this works. He's just gonna become more of a problem.
Yes, yes. And it's funny because it's like you didn't see what happened in Minnesota.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Like you didn't see what happened over there when guys wasn't on their P's and Q's. He wasn't feeling it. So then he forced his way out.
Hmm.
You know, just because you're the great Pat Riley and you are Miami. I'll give you that. You are Miami. Jimmy's the reason why Miami's name has been ringing out these past 5 to 6 years.
Hmm.
So I don't agree with how Jimmy has proceeded and has handled this whole thing from the first time he got suspended all the way to now. But
Hmm.
you want to go, you want to go.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it is what it like at this point you should have just let him leave because now you're suspending him indefinitely. I just don't agree with it. I really, really don't. Um, I mean, if the man wants out, just let him have out. That's really all I have to say about it. Don't be trying to find a deal or try to make things work. If the man wants out, let him out. Go get the best value that you can for him and let him out. But don't hold him hostage either.
Right,
Don't hold him hostage because
right,
that's not right either. Especially as
right.
Pat Riley. I think Pat Riley knows better than that. And so I'm a little disappointed in him for that,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know?
And his goal is to still get to Phoenix, but
Hmm.
Bradley Bill ain't he don't want to give up that no trade clause.
Hmm.
He's standing. He said he wants to stay in Phoenix and he wants to try to help them win. So who knows what that will actually look like. I know Milwaukee is somewhere in on that, and a few other teams have been calling around trying to figure that thing out. So keep close eyes on that as the trade deadline is February 6th.
Yeah, that's soon, brother. That's
So that's
soon.
cool. That's next week.
That's
That's next week.
soon.
So fireworks. Be expect fireworks, everybody.
Hmm.
Um, Going to the West Coast, Sacramento as are expected to open up trade talks for a deal with the Aaron Fox, which is literally insane after they just gave up Mike
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 Brown. No,
Brown.
I don't think it's insane. You gave up Mike Brown and you treated him like trash on the way out. Of
And it's
course your star player want to go.
and it's so funny, and it's so funny
Didn't
because
we
they
say that?
traded.
Didn't we say that
Oh
though?
yeah, no, this was exactly where it was trending to. But it's so funny to me because remember how they had Tyrese Halliburton and they
Yes.
traded Tyrese Halliburton to get Sabonis
Yes.
just so that he could team up with De'Aaron Fox.
Yes.
Then they brought in Malik Monk,
Yes.
his teammate from Kentucky.
Hmm.
And then they figured out, this whole team and everything, and they were looking good for a minute. Obviously now they don't. But man, this is ugly.
This is
This is
bad.
ugly. This is
Yo,
this is such a this is such a Sacramento thing to do.
like they no, it really is. Like it really is. But it's sad to see after, you just got to the playoffs for the first time in however long,
Yes.
like a year or 2 years ago, whatever. And then now all of a sudden the whole team about to break up. You about to break up the nucleus of the team, which is essentially De'Aaron Fox, and you're gonna
Hmm.
allow this to happen. The man wants to go to the Spurs. The Spurs don't got nothing to give Sacramento. What?
Yes, they do. Yes, they do.
Nine
Yes, they
first
do.
round picks. I know.
They have first round picks. They got a young guard in Stephon Castle that they could give up. They even if you want, you can give up Devin Vassell if you really want to.
Okay, okay, okay,
They got some dudes over there, bro. They got some dudes over
okay,
there. They got
okay,
some hidden gems. It ain't
okay.
just Wimby. It ain't just Wimby. So
All right.
I say that
I stand down. I stand down.
they
I
got a
stand
couple
down.
guys in there that they could possibly give up, but it depends on if San Antonio really wants to give them up.
Yeah.
Obviously for De'Aaron, but I know De'Aaron's contract is about
De'Aaron
to
will be
be
a
off
free agent next year, 2026.
exactly. So I mean, if he
But
could
they
stick
can't,
it
but
out,
Sacramento can't wait. They can't wait till that.
yeah, because they can't lose him for nothing.
Exactly.
They would have to either trade him or they have to do a sign and trade when free
Hmm.
agency starts next year, obviously. So
Yeah.
decisions, because like I said, they only got a week. So decisions. But that is our podcast for this week. I hope you all enjoyed just as much as we did.
I think
Hey,
this is a great episode.
yes, it was, and be tuned for next week because next week's episode, like I
Even
said,
better. Even better.
we previewing the big game down and the Big Easy,
In the
baby.
big easy.
Yes, sir. But till then, you already know I'm your host Cam Silver,
I'm your co-host, Kyle Silver.
and this is the Silver Boys.
Thank you. Thank you.